So I saw this flyer placing Nigeria as the 12th poorest country in the world by GDP per capita. Now, when you look at the people ahead of Nigeria, compare that to the population of Nigeria, you will notice that Nigeria is worse. That's the reason why Nigeria is regarded as the poverty capital in the world. In the same vein, I saw a news. It said over 10.9 million Argentines lifted out of poverty since Javier Milei took office. And another news, Argentina's annual GDP growth now stands at 5.8%, the highest in the Western world and higher than China. Bola Tinubu became the president of Nigeria in 2023. Few months later, Javier Milei was announced as the president of Argentina. Both of them were announced as presidents almost at the same time. Both nations were grappling with severe economic and social crises that tested their resilience. In Nigeria, the situation was dire. Over 70% of the population, roughly 133 million people, live in less than $2 a day, according to the World Bank estimate. Inflation had skyrocketed to 28%, eroding purchasing power and driving up the cost of essentials like food and fuel. The naira had lost significant value, trading at over 700 to the dollar on the black market, while unemployment hovered around 33%, with youth joblessness even higher. Basic infrastructure was a nightmare. Only 45% of Nigerians had access to reliable electricity, and healthcare facilities were underfunded, with many lacking drugs or staff. Insecurity from Boko Haram, banditry, and kidnapping plagued the north, displacing millions and disrupting famine. Politically, Tinubu inherited a democracy marked by decades of corruption, ethnic division, and a bloated government that struggles to deliver. Argentina, under Javier Milei, was in an even deeper economic hole. Poverty affected 40% of its 46 million people, with inflation reaching a staggering 140%, the highest in decades. The peso had lost 50% of its value in a year, and the country owed $44 billion to the IMF, straining its finances. Long lines for bread and meat became common as price controls and heavy state intervention choked the economy. The middle class was vanishing, with savings wiped out by hyperinflation. Politically, Argentines were fed up with Peronist policies, decades of populist spending and mismanagement that many blame for the collapse. Both leaders faced angry, desperate citizens, but the starting point highlighted Nigerians' reliance on oil with little diversification and Argentina's burden of state overreach. In Nigeria, the human toil was stark. Families in the northeast went hungry as insurgency destroyed crops, while urban dwellers faced skyrocketing rents and unemployment. Children dropped out of school to hawk goose, and maternal mortality rates remain among the world's highest due to poor health care. In Argentina, the human crisis was different but equally painful. Pensioners couldn't afford medicine and young professionals emigrated to escape the economic chaos. Both nations saw protests, but Nigerians were compounded by ethnic tensions and Tinubu's party's long grip on power, while Argentina unrest targeted a political class seen as out of touch. Economically, Nigeria's oil-dependent model left it vulnerable to global price swing, with little investment in agriculture or manufacturing. Corruption siphoned off billions. Transparency International ranked it 150 out of 180 countries in 2023. Politically, Tinubu All Progressive Congress (APC) faced accusation of rigging and internal rift, weakening its mandate. Argentina economic was stifled by state-owned enterprise and price control, with a political system dominated by Peronism that resisted reform. Milei, an outsider with a libertarian streak, promised to dismantle this, while Tinubu, a veteran politician, leaned on familiar tactics. Milei Argentina has undergone a remarkable transformation. Inflation has fallen to single digits within 2 years, a feat driven by slashing public spending by 20% and lifting export restriction. GDP growth reached 5.8% annually, outpacing China's 5%, thanks to a boom in agriculture and energy exports. Over 10.9 million Argentines, nearly a quarter of the population, have climbed out of poverty with new jobs in manufacturing and tech. Foreign investment has poured in, with companies like Tesla eyeing lithium projects. Politically, Javier Milei's approval rating hovers around 55%, bolstered by his direct communication and visible results. Tinubu's Nigeria, conversely, has deteriorated. Inflation has surged past 30%, with food prices up 40%, pushing more into poverty. Estimates suggest an additional 5 million Nigerians now live below the poverty line. The naira trades at 1,600 to the dollar, and power outage remain chronic with only 4,000 megawatts generated for 200 million people. Insecurity has worsened, with kidnapping rings expanding southward. Public discontent has erupted in strike and protest, with Tinubu approval rating dipping below 30%. Economic diversification remains a pipe dream, and oil revenues are still mismanaged. Javier Milei's success stems from both immediate action. He cut 70,000 public sector jobs, reduced subsidy on fuel and transport, and deregulated markets, allowing farmers to sell globally without red tape. His shock therapy was painful. Unemployment sparked briefly to 9%, but it cleared the way for a 15% export surge. Tax reform simplified the system, attracting small businesses, while anti-corruption probes jailed several officials, restoring trust. Tinubu's approach has been sluggish and reactive. Removing fuel subsidies in 2023 sparked riots, but no safety nets were in place. Unlike Javier Milei's cash transfer to the poorest, Tinubu's tax hike, including a 7.5% VAT increase, hit struggling households without boosting infrastructure. Corruption probes have been half-hearted, with allies often spared, and security spending has risen without result. While Javier Milei embraced private sector growth, Tinubu's policies have deterred investors with policies flip-flops and red tape. Javier Milei deregulation, spending cuts and market freedom unleashed Argentina's potential. He privatized laws, making state firms, cut red tape by 30%, and negotiated a revised IMF deal, freeing up $10 billion. His transparency, streaming cabinet meetings online, built public support. Tinubu policies, however, have doubled down on state control, raising taxes, delaying privatization, and expanding the federal workforce by 10%. His security focus has drained funds without curbing violence, and fuel subsidy removal lack Milei's strategic cushioning, leaving Nigerians angrier. Nigerians deserve a government that delivers development, and Tinubu's record suggests he can't. His failure to curb inflation, secure the nation of fixed power, has left millions worse off. Poverty has deepened, with no clear plan to diversify beyond oil. Unlike Javier Milei's broad economic revival, corruption persists, with billions still unaccounted for, while Argentina's reform jail offenders. Tinubu tax hikes and subsidy cuts without relief have fueled hardship, contrasting with Javier Milei's balanced approach. By 2027, with election looming, Nigerians should demand a leader who acts decisively, embraces private growth, and tackles insecurity. Staying with Tinubu risks another 4 years of stagnation, while a change could align Nigeria with Argentina's upward trajectory. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.